involved with IEL for almost 30 years. When I was at the Ford Foundation as a grant maker in the early 90s, they were involved in activities, and I was interested in leadership and the development of professionals in the field. So I learned that they were involved and very active in the Washington, D.C. area. So I ended up actually funding some activities. Some of those programs no longer exist, but they were important at the time. One was called Superintendents Prepared. It was to groom people who could become eventually superintendents in places around the country. It was done in cohorts around, so that was one. The other was something called the Educational Fellows Program. So they set up leadership development programs around the country in cohorts. Somebody in a particular state, community, or urban center would be the leader, and they would recruit people who wanted to get a broader view of what it means to be a leader affecting young people and people growing up. So I supported that. In fact, when I was leading an organization in Washington, D.C., I made sure that some of our staff members got exposed to it. It was a great program. Some of that's still going on. There are literally thousands of alumni who are a part of this, and they've held a variety of positions. And then more recently, the Coalition of Community Schools has really grown into virtually a movement, which they've been involved in. So I started not being a board member, which I eventually became as a grant maker. And then about 2006, I was asked to be a member of the board of directors, and I was on the board for a number of years until recently. And more recently, I've been an emeritus board member, which means I can get involved as much as I choose to get involved. But since the event today is going on in Los Angeles, which is where I'm from, I thought this is a great excuse to come and see what's going on more recently. I've had a lot of different experiences. One of the goals of having a good board is to have some people with broad perspectives. And given my background, I'm a Chicano from East LA. There weren't any of us on that board, so I wanted to bring a different kind of perspective, somebody from this side of the country in Los Angeles. And so I joined and tried to contribute in as positive a way as possible, and learning not only about what IEL is up to, but what their strengths are, and also about the policy implications and political perspectives that exist around the country. I've had a lot of experience in that arena, so being in Washington, D.C., and already working and living there, and since IEL is based there, I felt this could be a good opportunity to contribute more than the job I was in. One element that I think is important is the fact that IEL has the potential to be a real thought leader. They've issued some very important reports about what the changes are that are going on in this country and the changing demographics, and how we can in fact help all young people to succeed and what it's going to take. I thought one important element of IEL was this, what I call border crossing, meaning working with different sectors and having them come together in a collaborative fashion in partnership for the benefit of young people growing up. That doesn't always happen. We tend to work in silos, and many people belong to certain organizations. I came up in the professional education community. I was a teacher, a principal, a school district administrator, a university professor, then worked in the philanthropic world. But in every setting, people belonged to their own associations, and they didn't necessarily interact with other parts of that impact people growing up. So I think that IEL is really about solutions We have a lot of people who are good at describing the problems and looking at how things are going, but IEL is really about identifying solutions, what works, and then bringing people together to make it happen, and then to spread what is going on that's positive. And this conference today is an example of that. I think for communities and leaders, the most significant contribution is the fact that we actually know a lot about what can be done. We have now research to back it up, and we realize that to use a phrase from other stories, it takes a village to raise a child. It's the same idea, I think, with what IEL has contributed. That is that we're all in this together. And if we work together, there's not anything that we can't achieve. And we have so many people with so much potential as yet unrealized, and we just need to work on developing that potential in every young person who grows up in this country. I've always said that I'm in the business of providing hope. And hope, I think, is what IEL contributes. It's hope for a better world, hope for solutions. We know what needs to be done, and we just need to work together to make it happen. I think that what we need to do really is to do a lot of the things that IEL is already doing, which is realizing we can't do it alone. No one organization can do it alone. But together, if we work together across the aisle, people from different political stripes, different persuasions, working together, anything is possible. Because I think we have the same goal in mind, and that is that we want a good, healthy country where all people can participate and have a strong, vibrant democracy. And this involves people. That's what this organization is about.